So in this video, we're going to break down my most recent resume. This resume helped me get a job with a salary over $120,000. So this works, guys. Let's get right into it. All right, so let's go from top to bottom. At the top, you're going to put your full name and the job title. This is really important because you want to put the job title as many times throughout your resume as possible. And as I mentioned in a previous video, you're going to want one resume for each job title. Meaning if you consider yourself a full stack developer, I would actually try to split that up, make that more specific, make that more niche. So are you more of a back-end developer? Are you more of a front-end developer? If you're more of a front-end developer, are you a JavaScript developer? Are you a TypeScript developer? I would suggest making your role as specific as possible and making a different resume for each role. Full stack developer, obviously you can have your resume with that as the title. You would just have to go through more iterations whenever you're editing your resume based on the job description, because now you have a pool of a lot more possible skills compared to that of a front-end developer, let's just say. So it takes a little bit more time with a role as generic as full stack developer, but it definitely can be done. In my situation, I just use the title of software engineer. So full stack engineer is technically more specific than just software engineer, so it can work. So you're gonna wanna put your city, state. Don't put your full address here, guys. It's not necessary. I used to do this in my previous resumes when I was a lot younger. You do want to put your phone number here in case the recruiter wants to reach out to you. You also wanna put your email address. You wanna put your LinkedIn, and you want to put your GitHub link or your project's website. So if you have both, I would suggest putting both if you're really proud about both, but if not, just pick one. This is a controversial take, but I found that having a summary drastically increases your chances of getting callbacks. And I think the reason for that is because in the summary, instead of the recruiter skimming and barely reading your entire resume, they can just fully read your summary and get a really good understanding of the type of person that you are and your past experiences. So there is a wrong way to write your summary and there is a good way to write your summary. The correct way to write your summary is to make sure you include the job title once again. You want to put the years of experience that you work. That is really important, because if you see, it's kind of hard sometimes to do the math on the amount of years of experience, and that takes the recruiters a few seconds of processing time. But if you have the years of experience right here, especially if it's hitting the requirements of the job description or more, you qualify yourself that much faster. So always put the years of experience that you've worked at the top. Now, with years of experience, this can become tricky because some people, especially if you're a boot camp grad or you come from a different industry or anything like that, you're gonna have years of professional experience and then you're gonna have years as a software engineer. I recommend in this section putting years of professional experience, including non-software engineering experience. Down in the professional experience part, you're going to put the ones that are most related to software engineering. The next part is going to be a few sentences conveying the position you're looking for. And all this really means is just talk about your experiences in a more concise way. So if you're going for that front-end engineer role, you want to show your design capabilities. You want to show your organizational capabilities. Even if you don't have actual UI, UX, or front-end engineering experience, you essentially want to show that you have done something similar or you've already done the thing that you're applying for here. You want to make sure that you talk about all of the companies you've worked for if it's noteworthy, the top tech companies. You want to make sure that you're talking about tech stacks, the roles, anything that stands out that you really want this recruiter to know about you, anything interesting. If you were a part of an open source project that got really big, this is where you really put your best foot forward. So you essentially just talk about your experiences and what you were able to accomplish in relation to the role that you're applying for. The next thing that you're going to want to include is some technical skills. You're going to want to talk about, the language that you're most proficient in, libraries you're most proficient in, databases you're most proficient in, just whatever you have the most amount of experience in. This is where you would talk about that as well. And then the last thing, you want to highlight any professional awards, because usually that's all the way at the bottom of your resume. So once again, this summary section is essentially, a summary of your resume, and it shouldn't be too long. It also shouldn't be too short, and it should very much highlight your resume. So if I go into this example, you start with the job title, you make sure that it's bold. So essentially the job title should be bold at the top, bold in this summary section, so it stands out. You want to put the number of years of experience. You want to put the professional roles that you've had and the tech stack. So the summary would look something like this. You have job title with number of years of experience, of professional experience in roles ranging from, and then you talk about all the different roles that you've had over the years. You talk about the job titles, you talk about the tech stacks, you talk about the companies, anything that's worth noting. You also talk about some certs here as well, and any notable colleges as well. Then you also want to go into what your mission is. So what do you stand for? What problem are you trying to solve? What types of teams or culture would you like to be a part of or create? And then you also want to talk about the technical skills that's really, really interesting. And that's essentially the sum. Moving on to skills and competencies. So if you notice, I broke down the skills section into technical skills and skills and competencies. And the reason for this is because of the ATS. You want to make sure that you have your JavaScripts, your Java, your programming languages and libraries in your resume. That's a given. But on these ATS filters, they also check for non-technical skills, and sometimes having them all in this one section is just, it's not great. So I separated it out, made it so that it shows and flows nicely. You can flip these if you want, right? You can make this top part your technical skills if you feel like that's the part you really want to highlight. You can flip it to skills and competencies down here. It's interchangeable. I just wanted to talk about the fact that they are separate. One is technical, one is non-technical. So non-technical skills would be like team player. It would be organization skills. It would be strategic thinker, emotional intelligence. Any word that's not technical that will come up on a resume multiple times, you want to add it. And the technical skills are pretty self-explanatory. You just list your programming languages, your libraries, your databases, everything that you've done. I usually include Microsoft Word and Excel and things like that, just to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's. So yeah, we can just move on. One of the other things, actually, you cross your T's and dot your I's. One thing to note here, with the keywords, some of the words have different ways of reading or writing them. So one of the better examples here is the word API. Some ATS filters has it where it's just API. Other filters are looking for API and APIS. Some filters are looking for API''S. And some are actually looking for application programming interface. If you can fit every single one of these variations in your resume at least once, it would be very, very helpful to you. You don't want to sell yourself short because the job that you're applying to uses application programming interface instead of API. So you want to make sure that you have every variation and every version of the skills specifically that you can think. Don't say, oh, well, I have API, it will encompass the other ones. I'm here to tell you it won't. You need to write everything out. Moving along to professional experience. In this section, you want to put your job title that you had before. You want to put your company name. You want to put the month and year format. And if it's your most recent role, you want to put to present. And if it's not, if it's something in the past, you want to order this from most recent to least recent. Now, I know in some cases, your least recent experience might be the most relevant. Understood. In that case, you just want to give it more bullet points, but I suggest keeping your resume in order because organization skills is a very, very big part of being a software engineer. And you want to make sure that there's at least a system in your resume. And if this job title is more relevant than this most recent one, you have a few options. You can just remove this one altogether, bringing this second one up to the top. Or if it's slightly relevant, you can just make sure you highlight the second job title up here in your summary. So there's different ways of doing it. Each of the bullet points, you want to make sure that you use the Google XYZ bullet point format. If you haven't watched the XYZ video in this module, go back, watch it. It's very, very helpful. I break it down. It essentially is just breaking your sentences down into what you did, what result did you get, and how did you do it. An example of the XYZ format would be something like this. So for this job title, I implemented a transaction limit API to reduce the risk of unauthorized transactions and financial losses by 20% using Spring Boot Java and Postgres. So that's essentially what the XYZ format is. Now, it's not super strict in terms of which way you put the X, Y, and Z. It's more of a suggestion. The reason why the Y is the result and it goes before how you did it is because if a recruiter is skimming your resume, you want to show your results before. You want to put your results in the forefront rather than having them wait for the most important part, arguably, all the way until the end. So if you have some bullet points, as long as you're touching all three of these and telling the story of, you're showing, not telling, then that's fine. But this is, I find, the most efficient way to do it. Moving on to projects. So if you're a mid-level or senior level developer, you most likely won't have this project section. So honestly, what you can do, just delete this section and then go ahead and just add more professional experience. Because at this point, you probably have 5, 10, 15 years of professional experience and you really want to highlight that. If you don't have 5+ years of professional experience, let's say, and you do want to highlight one or more of your projects, that's why I put this section in here. So this section is optional. I just wanted to call that out. With the project section, you want to make sure that you are talking about 3 things within your projects. You want to talk about the name of the project, what problem this project solves, and what technologies did you use in order to create this project. This is really, really important. I see a lot of people, when they have their project section, all that they put is the name of the project. If a recruiter is looking at that and the name isn't self-explanatory, how would they know what languages you use? This is one of those things where you kind of have to tell. Showing would be adding the link to the project, which is one thing that I recommend as well, but that's what your GitHub or your website is for. So technically, they should be able to see your projects there. So that's where you would show it. In this section, if you want to highlight it, you have to tell either a story or you have to tell exactly what technologies and what problem you solve. So let's use an example here. Let's say that you are applying to be a software engineer in the medical field. You'll be working with a lot of medical admins behind the scene. If your project helps solve a problem that these medical admins face on a day-to-day problem, that will stand out to them. So this might be one of the reasons why you want to highlight this project. If all you have is the project name, it won't stand out. Telling them what problem it solves, that's what will make them stand out. And then once they know what problem that it solves and they realize that it's relevant to them, or that they agree that the problem is worth solving, then they would probably look at the technologies that you've used, and then they'll probably call you for an interview. You want to make sure that you're always thinking about, if a recruiter was looking at this and they had no clue what I was talking about, what's the best way that I can articulate myself? That's how you would do it. Moving on to education and certs. This is a pretty simple section. You just want to go ahead, put your cert name or degree name in bold here, and you want to put the month and year. You don't need to put your GPA here. You don't need to put any grades or scores, especially if you have professional experience. It's not relevant. Once again, this list needs to be ordered from most recent at the top to the least recent at the bottom. It's the $120,000.
So go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Any of the resources that you're looking for in this video, you'll be able to find in our free Tech Pro Odyssey school community. If you're looking to automate your job search, network, or anything like that, you'll be able to do that in the Tech Pro Odyssey Premium School community. And if you want to work with the team one-on-one, then go ahead and sign up at techproodyssey.com. Book a spot. You'll be able to talk with myself or someone from my team, and we'll get you that job a lot faster, okay? Let's jump right into it. Go ahead and sign up at techproodyssey.com, and we'll be able to help you.